lot of times I'm driving, there's nothing to do, and I shuffle through the radio before I unglue. There's a lot of red on ways, it's traffic, I'm screwed, and I'm wired a bit different than a regular dude. It's not a bad thing, I embrace it, it's true. The radio don't stimulate brain chemistry fluid. The Buddha found nirvana and the Four Noble Truths. Through a meditative process, right action he proved. For me, I require the use of a tool, a detector, pin, pointer, shovel, and beach scoop. I'm meant to work the dirt with my history crew, but everywhere I look, my interest taboo. Most people choose Bieber over Tippecanoe. What does a detectorist listen to when the radio is full of bad music and news? I need an alternative for me to peruse. Beyond Sight and Sound gets fantastic reviews. A metal detecting show where my thought bubble brews. Thank you, Josh Kimmel, for inviting me to a detecting dork out with guests like yours truly.
Are you looking for a high-quality beach and sand scoop? Are you trying to take your hunting to the extreme? How about an American-based company that stands behind their product and everything they sell? Then check out our friends over at XTREME Scoops. John has been making scoops for some time now and makes a quality beach and sand scoop to take your hunting to the next level. XTREME Scoops recently released their new sand shredder that works great in the water and on the beach. And if you're a new Equinox user, you may want to check out his Surfmaster X3 that can trap those small targets you new Equinox users are finding out there. XTREME Scoop's company approach is let's do it right. So do it right, buy it once, and go to the extreme. XTREMEScoops.com. That's XTREME scoops.com. Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show. All right, the fine print's out of the way. It's time to roll with the show. We're back and we're live once again. You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio for all the really cool digging people out there. But first, late breaking news. It was confirmed today by an unnameable source that had made the statement, for those who are worrying, you cannot contract the coronavirus from interacting with the show tonight. So the introverts in the chat are safe, and those listening to the archive, well, you're even safer. So that's good news. I mean, when they're going around and they're starting to cancel and restrict public events in enclosed areas, hey, podcasts are still the place to be. Everybody's safe. So that's good to see. Links in the description. First and foremost, obviously, our friends over at Shooters and Prospectors. Chuck Smalley, the man with the plan, the dealer of choice, the dealer we like to promote here. Multi-line dealer dealing in Minelab, Nokta, Macro, XP, Garrett Metal Detectors, Detector Pro, Detected Shafts, Dean Rickard Detector Covers, Cedar River Digging Tools, and more. Our friends over at XTREME Scoops, our friends at DETECTEES.com. Ken, Mark, Darth, Buddy, and the gang doing a great job with the Beyond Sight and Sound apparel. And remember, March is MS Awareness Month, so a portion of all proceeds go towards MS awareness, and usually that winds up going to Multiple Sclerosis Association of America, because they do have some great programs in place for people. Not only for people who deal with MS, but also family members of people that suffer from MS so that they can maybe better understand what people are going through. And I guess for some people things are a little more hectic, seeing as how Ohio has been declared a state of emergency by the Ohio governor, and we now have a potential case of coronavirus right here in Mercer County. Not me. Don't know who it is, but it's not me. So, also, we have the links for TheRingFinders, Ohio Metal Detecting on YouTube, Metal Detecting NYC on YouTube, Detect Ed Outdoors on YouTube, Crazy Spider Adventures on YouTube. Shout out to John in the chat. Very good job with his videos. And there's also, down there at the bottom, there's another YouTube channel in there of Flash in Your Pan for the Flash family. If you are not subscribed to Ed's YouTube channel, you should go over and check out some of his videos, or maybe even return for some of his live auctions that he's been doing here for some time. And then we do have the links for the Swing Into Summer event, the meet and greet. The Simplex raffle still runs to the end of the month. They will be doing that drawing April 2nd, I believe, but the information is there. And the link for the East Coast Research and Discovery Association beach hunt, where they are seeding 44 pounds of silver into the beach. That's going to be a job for somebody. Definitely going to be a job for somebody. But anyway, those that tuned in Sunday know, those that saw the promo drop today know, and those who are in the chat now and have seen the title of the show know that tonight we've got Ed Marvin, the man, the myth, the legend himself, from Flash in the Pan. The only thing is, we're not on the river and we're not in the field, but we are seeing everyone. How is it going, Ed?
Excuse me while I gain my composure. It's going absolutely fabulous, Josh. Thank you for having me on tonight.
Oh, that was good. I kind of caught you off guard there. It's a good thing you didn't spit coffee all over your keyboard or something.
Yeah, I wasn't drinking any yet. I was pouring it, our buddy Bill, you know. I heard Ed pouring a cup of coffee, podcast fuel.
Yeah, that's Bill for you, and he's first through the gate again tonight. Obviously, that in-studio cam's working well for him. I don't know how he does it. He keeps good tabs on the show here. He knows when we're ready to go live. He knows when we're ready to go live.
He's a good part of the Flash fam also, and since I'm on your guys' finger of the hand today, Bill, thank you for the turntable you donated to Red's Coins and Collectibles auctions at Flash in Your Pan. I use it every auction. Thanks, bud. And I see Barb Connell. She's hilarious in chat. You should see her punching it out with a couple of my regulars. I'm like Amish buggy exhaust.
Nice. Well, you can't beat that at all. And no. I have. She gets pretty serious when it comes to the opportunity to obtain a few extra Indians for her tribe.
You know, I get a kick out of her and this fellow Flash fammer, Dwight Wooten. It looks like they have a good time, and I'm sure it's all in jest. You know, Dwight will go, Barb, go vacuum or something. Depending on what they're bidding wars against.
Right.
No, it's all fun. And I really appreciate those in your community coming over and becoming part of mine. I think it's awesome. After all, we are one big hand, a band of the hand, I would like to say, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
not sure which finger's detecting and prospecting, though. Prospecting might be the middle one. I don't know, but
It's all about perspective. I don't know. I'm sure there are some people that would say it's the other way around.
I know they're both great communities. I've made a lot of friends throughout the years on both sides. I want to dab into more, though, Josh.
Right.
I'd love to river hunt more and bottle dig and just finding the time.
Right. Well, that's kind of the great thing about it, though, because, I mean, realistically, treasure hunting is a kind of a ambiguous, all-encompassing term for all the facets of the hobby that we partake in, whether it's gold prospecting, detecting, bottle digging, privy digging, you know, whatever.
Yeah, you name it.
Even thrift store finds. You know, some people are big into that sort of thing. Or the mudlarking. Mudlarking's pretty cool, too.
Yeah, I watched some of that in London. Some YouTubers from London that mudlark on the river there. The Teens or whatever it is.
Yep, mudlarking on the Thames. Actually, that's been a while back now. We actually had Nicola White on the show to talk about her experiences.
She's one of the ones
in
I
mudlarking.
watch, yeah.
She does a very good job with her videos.
Dumpster divers too, Mike. Yeah. There's a couple dumpster diver YouTubers I wouldn't mind getting on the show, because they pull out some amazing stuff out of some of those dumpsters.
Right, yeah. I think I tuned into an episode the other week where they said they were in a dumpster, and come to find out they were raiding my garage.
Where's my sound effects? Da-da-da.
But that's the way it goes, you know. Definitely. But really, I mean, a lot of the people in the chat already obviously know you, because as you said earlier, we do see a number of the same people in each other's chats. The only difference is, you know, here we're the podcast, where you are the live stream, I guess you could say.
Yeah, well, we're both live, just I have the burden of video also with the audio. So.
Yeah, the only video we have to worry about here is the in-studio cam that Ohio Relic Hunter's got.
You gotta watch that guy.
He's sneaky. He'll keep you on your toes, which that's going to be an interesting trip in June when we do the I&I hunt, because we are traveling with the Ohio contingent, you could say. It'll be myself and Tam and the Ohio Bills.
Oh, cool. I wouldn't mind if I ever get down to Bill's neck of the woods. I would really love to hit a field or the woods with him or something.
Right.
He never wants to come around me at Gold Rush days because he claims I always have a camera going, and he'll say, "But I was right next to you."
That is funny, because I just had that discussion with Bill the other day. He was telling me about how, you know, he's been around you before, but you've always got that camera going, and somehow he manages to remain elusive.
He's like a nugget. He's so elusive. But I've been keeping an eye on pictures with him in it. So now I have a good idea of what he really looks like, and now I was privy to some information that I didn't quite know before. Apparently, he's like my youngest son, and he wears shorts almost year-round. So...
Yeah, I think he does wear them pretty much year-round. So you shouldn't have, now that you've got a kind of vague idea of who you're looking for and everything, he shouldn't be too hard to spot. He kind of stands out in a crowd.
See, right now he's like, I was right next to you, Ed, about half a dozen times.
Right. And we see that your buddy Bob D's in the chat, too.
Yeah, Mr. Bob Drake, how you doing? He's another great member of the Flash Dam clan. Yeah, buddy.
Bill Hayes says you never see Ohio relic hunter and Bigfoot in the same place at the same time. That's nice. Definitely.
And get a video of him, Bill Hayes. He detects quite a bit with Bill Marsh, don't he?
Yes, he does. But I think with Bill Hayes, getting video of Bill Marsh is probably not going to happen, because usually Bill Hayes is more focused on what that next find is going to be. He's a machine out there in the field.
Hey, this ain't about me. Let's get to Ed.
Getting them fired up already. Well, hey, at least they know they're safe from coronavirus during the show, so that's always a plus. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So I guess for those who don't know who you are, let's back up and let everybody know just who is Ed Marvin. When did you get your start in prospecting? What inspired you to get into what you're doing?
Let me see. It was my youngest was born already, so it was about 92. I was living in Skagit Valley, Washington. I was in beautiful country too.
Yeah, definitely. The scenery is phenomenal.
I was back down in Anaheim, the land of my birth, and I was working on my mom's house, and I was visiting with my foster brother, Lawrence, and he was watching Buzzard Massey on public television, a show called Gold Fever. And he was watching, seemed like it was always on whenever I was over there, and I'm like, oh, cool. There's gold up in the Cascades. And then one thing led to another. I bought a gold pan. Oh, actually, rewind. I joined the GPAA, the Gold Prospectors Association of America, and they send you a panning kit, a book with all their properties, a hat, sticker, yada, membership card, everything but the decoder ring. And I found some properties near me. I always liked history, so I started studying, going to the local libraries and going through the microfiche at old 1800s papers and stuff, looking for little gold rushes around Washington and seeing where gold's been mined before. And, you know, you want to hunt for gold where it's been found before. So then you learn, okay, prospecting on an active mining claim is a Class A felony, so you better be doing that on land you're legally allowed to, and found my gold, got bit. Love the lifestyle. Granted, I do like my gold, but the adventure's part of it, a lot of it, the hunt, the research, and the never-ending learning curve is also one of the appeals. And I'm a tinkerer also, so I wish I would. I still to this day I wish I would have got into prospecting when I still lived in California, instead of wasting all that time and money going to the beach surfing and ditching school surfing and chasing and California babes. You know, I wish I would have been at least ditching dredging in this motherlode or something. But, you know, hey, it is what it is, right?
Right, yeah. If things could have went differently, who knows where you'd be now?
Yeah, but all what happened is what made me what I am today, so I can't complain too much about it. I've been blessed well beyond what I deserved. So
well,
now
it sounds.
I know why Ed talks the way he does.
It's that California
boy,
upbringing.
Suffer, boy.
It's that California upbringing.
Dude.
But so, I mean, realistically, there are a lot of commonalities then, because much like with the, like you were saying with the prospecting, it's the same with detecting. We like gold. We like to do our research, and to find things, you got to be where people were, but you definitely need to know your laws and regulations if you want to keep your nose out of trouble.
Right.
Got to stay out of that hot water. Usually we don't like being on that side of things.
No. And then when you do that, it puts the whole lifestyle into bad eyes anyway. And like I've told Dano, now that I put myself in front, or in the position I am, being a YouTuber and stuff, I have to be a good ambassador of my lifestyle.
Right. You have to lead by example, so to speak, and hold yourself to a higher standard, a more ethical set of guidelines, so to speak.
Right. You know, if I was some Joe Schmo and didn't put myself out there, share my lifestyle and one of my passions with the world, you know, you could be a bit more shady. You know, maybe bend the rules a little more. But, you know, I'm going to practice what I preach, and that's to stay as, you know, pack everything and leave a spot better than the way you found it. Don't dig into the banks. Follow all the rules. And if you don't like the rules, organize with the community and get representation. That's why we have them there, you know, if it's state, federal, or local, you know.
Yeah, try to form a movement to change that legislation if you don't agree with the rules. Right.
And you have to be polite. You can't go in there all like 1776 and hammers cocked and flint and powder dry, you know.
Yeah, it usually doesn't work so hot that way.
No. It's best to have some diplomacy and be polite and work with them, and instead of work with them within bounds. There's a time when it takes a little more fight than just say, oh yeah, we'll work with you, fine. No, this is totally BS what you're doing to us, scientifically this and that, but, we have to do it tactfully. We can't just go guns blazing, even though sometimes probably should, but you didn't hear that from me.
Right, we didn't hear anything. What?
Now repeat after me. You know nothing.
Exactly. So you started out then getting involved then, becoming a member of the GPAA, getting your gold pan and everything, and doing that for a while. But obviously, I know you've had quite a bit of time, and you've messed with quite a bit of other equipment. When did you start to kind of expand on that?
Oh, it was, boy, kind of like a drug, really. You find this amount, and then you go, okay, I can only move this amount of material so fast with just a gold pan, and I'm yielding this much gold per pan. Now, if I could change that into a 5-gallon bucket an hour over a couple pans an hour, and then you buy a sluice so you could move more material. More material you move, if you're in a good place, the more gold you get. First you have to prospect before you get into mining anyway, regardless of the size of your operation. So when I prospect, I go out pretty much with a backpack, some hand tools, a pan, and I poke around. I sample here, I sample there. Oh, I got 0 specks there. I have 2 specks here. I have 8 specks here. Then I try and imagine what the pay streak would be. I look at a river and imagine it in torrent flood stage. And then I look for obstacles that would suddenly change water direction and cause eddies and dead spots in the water where gold would fall.
Right.
Then once you do your prospecting and sampling, and you pick the area where you're getting the most colors per sample pan, then you could bring in your sluice box, your high banker, your dredge. Now a high banker, for those who don't know, hey, Jaron Wheeler, the world's greatest moderators in the house and fellow YouTuber.
Oh, the man with the voice.
Yes, the voice. He's also my co-host for our auctions. It's good to see you. But a high banker, that is a piece of equipment for working on gravel bars or upper benches, old river beds that are now high and dry, and you pump water to it. A lot of you know what a rocker box is from the old timers, the old sourdoughs. They have that contraption. It looks like a sluice where they put dirt on top and scoop water into it and rocker it back and forth. I often call that the grandpappy of the high banker. And then there's times you want to use a dredge. Think of Barbara's vacuum, but something that vacuums using the force of water to vacuum material up to your box on floats, and hopefully you keep all the gold and other heavy metals like lead and nails and stuff, and then the rest return to the waterway. That's my favorite kind of small-scale mining, is using a suction dredge. More like her broom. Oh, be nice, Bill. I've been around for a while. I was in Cedar Woolley, Washington. I actually was in cahoots on a prospecting store. I had a bit of financial interest in it, and my title was field sales rep. But I would travel around to gold prospecting events throughout the state of Washington and Oregon, and sometimes into Northern California, where I found my biggest nugget to date in the early 90s.
And how big was that?
Oh, it was close to 4 ounces.
Wow, that was a happy day for Ed.
Yeah, but I dare not hoot or howl. I found it with the metal detector.
Hey, all right, now we're talking.
yeah, the Falcon MD-20.
Oh, okay.
I came up to this huge hole on a gravel bar. I was at Scott's Bar, Lost Dutchman's Mining Association camp in Northern California. I had 3 kids with me and my wife, and I was down there with Paystreak Enterprises, our store in Cedar Woolley, selling goods to the prospectors. I would say I wasn't mining the miners, but I was a merchant to the miners. That's who made the money during the gold rush anyway, the merchants. But, I got a little slack time. My parents came up from Anaheim. I'm like, man, I'm really dying. Get in the river and find some gold. And they're like, okay, go ahead. And I see this huge hole in a gravel bar. And usually at a LDMA camp or a GPA property, if there's people camping around there and they have like a shovel there and a bucket and some of their stuff, usually a bucket and a shovel on those types of property, it'd be a no-go zone. It's like they stake their claim. And so there was no buckets, no shovels. So I'm like, okay, judging by the size of this hole, they're finding gold to dig a hole this big. And so I jumped in, and I happened to have a Fisher gold bug, and that I was selling at a MD-20, and I played around the walls and had a good signal. And with the Falcon MD-20, if it sounds off going to it, it's gold. If it sounds off pulling away from it, it's ferrous. And so I had a non-ferrous signal in the wall, and kept going, and that thing looked beautiful in my hand. But I was a young couple with 3 young kids and a stay-at-home mom, the most important job there is in the world besides nurses. And I ended up selling it before I even left California.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't see any nuggets like that on your live auctions.
No, if I still had that, that'd be in my safety deposit box, just waiting. Yeah, gold was like $300 an ounce then, if that. And I still got above spot price for it because it was a beautiful nugget. But I'll be chasing that, something like that till the day I die, I'm sure. Hopefully that wasn't my one and only.
Right, yeah. Can you imagine hitting that thing back when gold was up to like, borderline 2,000 an ounce?
Yeah, yeah. I'd be dancing where no one could see me and eating something so no one could hear me holler, "Woohoo, Eureka!"
Right? Yeah, that is definitely a nice find, and you wind up making it with a metal detector.
Yeah. And I'm not really proficient on those. I can find a lot of nails, but since I've started my show, I have a lot of detectorists on.
Right.
And, so I got a little more of a detecting itch. I do own 4. I have a Garrett Ace 250. I have an old Garrett, like Grandmaster 7 or something like that, or some old Garrett. I still have it somewhere in my shed. I have 5.
Look at you. You're stacking them like cordwood.
I won a Mine Lab Go Find 40 at Fossick, when Jocelyn, Elizabeth, and Drew were at Fossick 2 years ago. Fossick's an outing that the Buckeye Prospectors put on every year just after Memorial Day weekend. And I had my old Garrett that I've been playing with, and my grandson would use the Garrett Ace 250. But, I have a Fisher Goldbug Pro, and I do use that quite a bit prospecting. I look for heavies in the river, in the stream course with it, and black sand concentrations, and that gives me an idea of where to dig. But I just invested in the Knox 800.
That's right.
I need to get out and try and have that thing pay for itself.
Right? Well, I can tell you, it will find gold.
Well, that's why I chose the 800, and I didn't want just a gold machine because where I'm located geographically, I'm in Ohio, not far from you.
Right.
So I figured, well, no real need for a Gold Monster 1000, even though there's only like a $200 price difference. It does get small gold though, and any detector will find anything, I guess. Maybe I should have got the gold monster.
Well, I'll tell you, that Equinox will find small gold, too, because there's nothing more frustrating than trying to track down an earring. Those things are a little problematic. The Nox will pick them up, and then you're looking for another 20 minutes trying to find what set it off.
Right. But I've been talking to our friend Chris Bonnet.
Chris Benoit. Good guy.
Benoit, that's right, recovery. Benoit. You know, I had to put that in Google Translator to get the pronunciation right, because that don't spell Benoit to me. And he's right up the road, a little east of you and down from me.
Yeah.
And I've met Chris a couple of times. He came to Gold Rush Days last year, spent the day there.
And had a blast.
From what I hear, yes, he's actually coming to our Flash Bash in June also. And
nice.
I'm excited about that. Chris is a great guy. And I hope to be detecting with him a bit this coming season.
There you go. Yeah, I had the opportunity to meet him myself in person here recently as well, and he's very down to earth.
Oh yeah, great guy. He has a cool wife and great kids. I look forward to pulling out some of those St. Mary's tokens in his honey hole.
Right? Yeah, he does a good job with those.
Yeah, I like tokens. I really like trade tokens.
Oh, so do I.
Hard Knocks, Civil War, you know, good fours. Nothing like a good token. Personally, I like them better than coinage.
Right.
But I feel they have a little bit more history, and they're more unique, rarer.
Oh yeah, absolutely, they can be.
But,
and they come in such a variety.
Oh yeah, ain't that for sure. So
sometimes I find an old token like that. I almost have more fun researching the story behind it, the history behind it, who used that token, who passed it around, what was the store like that it was for, things of that nature, than I did actually finding the token.
Right. That's one thing I would get into with your finger of the hand compared to like the prospecting finger.
Right.
Because we research geology, other earth science. I deal a lot with like geology maps and bedrock surface maps, and see how deep the bedrock is and what type of minerals might be there. Check out the topography of the land. But research, okay. What gold history, let's say, Ohio has? Well, in the late 1800s, there were a small... Wait
a minute. There's no gold to be found in Ohio.
Oh, now you talk like Mr. Lodak, our friend Jaron from Utah. There's no gold in Utah. There's no gold in Ohio. You're right. Yeah, we have no native gold. This is true, but the gold we do have came down through glaciers over the millennias from our neighbors to the north in Ontario. And like I always say, they can't have it back. No,
right.
no.
No, that's kind of the way I am. I mean, when I run across a piece of gold, it's, I found it, it's mine. Well, I guess you could kind of say I'm like Daffy Duck with the golden egg at that point. I'm covering it up and getting that thing home. It's all mine. Nobody gets it.
And I wouldn't mind having enough gold I could swim in it like Scrooge McDuck.
There you go. Yeah, I've got a new goal in life.
I'm waiting for Barb to send me one of those lumberyard tokens. I'd love her for that.
Oh,
I already do, but
I don't know. She kind of treats them things like gold.
Yeah, I've heard. I heard. We talked about it a bit when she was on our show. She was an absolutely awesome guest, too.
She is. She's an outstanding guest. Actually, over here, usually twice a year, we do our field safety and medical awareness shows. And I think originally I may have gotten one out of the way early on without Barb. And since then, Barb has been kind of the wingman for the field safety and medical awareness shows. She's a great asset to those.
We actually that came up during the show, and she's laughing at me now. Ha 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 ha, Ed. All capitals, so she yelled Ed.
Right. Yeah.
I knew that reaction was coming.
At least she knows she's good, though. I gave her heads up. She may want to get you paid before tonight's show.
Like I told you in pre-show, there's those I don't worry about at all. I know it's like money in the bank, so to speak, I know right. They'll get to it when they can.
Right. And with Barb, she's going to be back for more of the items that you have up for auction.
Well, I would like to think so. I do have Indian head pennies left.
Well, spoiler alert. You haven't gotten them all yet, Barb. Hint, hint.
At all.
Wow. Well, of course, now here's a good question, because I've noticed, with you working him into a lot of the live auctions. Once you got Jaron on there with the live auctions, did the bids go up on those Indians?
Sometimes it seems like the ladies in the crowd, when he uses his voice, I can't do Jaron's voice, but when he uses his voice,
right, it kind of loosens up the wallets a little bit.
No, but he's a great asset. I've known Jaron for quite a while via the internet through Gold Prospectors space. He's a moderator there. I never asked him either. I rewarded him his wrench to him, and the next thing you know, he's like, "Hey, wait a second, I'm blue. I got a wrench," and he took the reins, and he's our number one mod, and he makes a great host.
Oh, absolutely.
A great co-host for our auctions.
Yeah, and he does a very good job with his own videos.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, so definitely a good match there. I mean, he does very well, and he does take his job as a moderator seriously. He's quick to react, which is good. That's what you guys need in the YouTube environment due to all the trolls, unfortunately.
Yeah, and there's those guys, it's probably some real disgusting looking creature in their mom's basement. out there who hates the world or something, keyboard tough guy, and they search out live streams, and it's like Jaren has like a sixth sense of these guys and he's also gets around, he's moderators and other chats.
Yeah, I did see him post. Streams. He needs a bigger toolbox. He's got a lot of wrenches.
Right. And he learns the names.
Exactly.
The handles, and he'll see them, and a lot of times it's so fast I don't even know what the guy said.
Right, yeah, it's done and over with before you even realize anything went on.
Yeah.
Definitely good. Definitely good. So, what inspired you to start your YouTube channel?
Well, I had to go back home to Washington State for a little bit. My youngest ended up living with my oldest son, and he was being kind of rebellious, and the mom moved in with some boyfriend quite a ways away, and my oldest is like, "Dad, I need help with Ian." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll be there as soon as I can." So I told Judy, my boys need me. I need to go. So I went back home, and what thought was going to be just 2, 3, 4 months turned into 5, 6 months. Then my mom got her foot amputated, which turned that into 8 months. I was back home. I wanted to get out in the mountains, prospect for gold. And I discovered this website called YouTube. And so I searched prospecting in Washington and gold prospecting, which there was hardly anybody except for this very good producer, Darcy Cooper from British Columbia. He makes excellent little documentaries, and he was showing his prospecting, and it inspired me to videotape it, and then I started kind of using YouTube to store it. But I'd keep it public, share my lifestyle and store my videos. And, I think I joined December 9th, 2008, on YouTube. And I didn't really get serious into it until, I started getting more serious into the creating of the video and editing probably about 8 years ago. Then 5, 6 years ago, I started getting more serious. And around the time I started live streaming is when I'm like, okay, I'm done playing this. I'm going to make it.
Right, I'm all in.
I'm all in. I'm going to turn this into a venture, and out of necessity, it's turned itself into a business, because it's amazing how much money it takes,
Oh yeah, I feel you there. Video equipment, audio equipment, computers, software.
Yeah, and my live streaming forced me to buy a much powerful computer. You could ask people like Bob Drake and Jaren and probably Bill Marsh. There was a time I was doing it on my laptop, But before I went with the chroma key and green screen and all, the more bells and whistles I wanted to add to make my show better, the less my computer would cooperate. And then I had lagging issues and connection speed issues, and my computer just wasn't powerful enough, even though it was a good laptop with a good graphics card. It wasn't enough.
Right.
So with the help of they're like Bob Drake, he's awesome. During that time, he did a lot of super chats, and him and other of the viewers the super chats they gave helped pay for the streaming tower I have now, and I can't thank him enough.
Right. Yeah, it has definitely
Yes,
come...
I did blame YouTube as much as I could.
I saw that.
But then Jaron, being the techie he is, he showed me something. You can right click on your player on YouTube, and down at the bottom of this menu it says stats for nerds or stats for geeks, something like that. Stats for nerds, I think it is. And he's like, don't get mad at me or nothing, but look at this. And I'm like, I definitely need a new computer.
Right.
And now, most of the time, it's someone else's connection, or they're watching on their phone, or it's YouTube's fault. But, there's still times, regardless what I do, stuff's gonna happen. I'm sure you understand that frustration.
Exactly. That is just the nature of the beast with live broadcasting of any nature. Anything could come up, and you have to be prepared to deal with it as those situations arise. So sometimes, as creators, it can really keep us on our toes.
Thank you, Bill Marsh. He says the new pewter helped a lot. Show is very professional now.
Yes,
I try hard to give you all a good show, and I just want to make it better all the time. Strive to be better, and I really laxed on my edited content, though, I have to say. I was so focused on the live show. I still think YouTube live is really gonna quadruple more and more and more and be more prevalent on YouTube, and live streaming, a big part of their future will be live on YouTube, will be live streaming. And I want to share my lifestyle with the world, but then what is my lifestyle? I love rock collecting. I like finding old bottles, arrowheads. I do like metal detecting, and it's kind of morphed into this thing with the hand I have now. It's
right.
Like we're all fingers, detectorists, prospectors, bottle diggers, coin collectors. We're all appendages of the hand, but we're all one hand of treasure hunters.
Right, we
right?
all play a small part in the big picture, and then suddenly you wake up one day and find out that you just don't have enough time. Suddenly, with everything.
That.
Yeah.
I saw your crypto tip, Jaron. Thank you very much. I do take crypto for tips. Bitcoin, Ethereum or whatever it's called, and Batcoin, basic attention token. But hey, I might be old, but I gotta try and stick up and keep up with the times.
Right, you're keeping up with the technology quite well, I would say. But you've got good people behind you to help you too. You've got your friends. You've got Jaren and Dano and Jesse and
a great crew of guys, but I've made some excellent friends through just the medium of YouTube also.
Right. When you started doing your, because you did your other videos and you did your In the Shed with Ed and everything, when you started doing your live streams, did you think it would ever evolve to the point that it is now, and that you would meet and interact with so many different people along the way?
Well, that started within the Shed with Ed. I met this one guy at the Swank West, Chris Dye. First day I met him, I was carrying gear up the captain's ladder down by the east side of the property where the island is, my favorite part of the property. And I'm loading stuff up into my truck, and this guy comes up to me and says, "I know who you are. You're Ed Marvin." And I'm like, yeah. I still tease him. I go, yeah, Chris, if you're lucky you didn't say, "And I'm your number one fan." If you would have said, "I'm your number one fan," I probably would have never talked to you after that. But he became a good friend. We camp together. We prospect together. He's helped film sometimes and gave some input on some of my In the Shed with Ed projects. Like when I built the bucket hopper, he had a little input on that. The list goes on with people like that. I was down in southern Ohio at Bill's Pure Gold. I'm walking up the stream, and this guy's using classifiers just like the ones I made. And I'm like, "Yeah, nice classifiers." And he goes, "I think so. I saw your video and I made them." and I'm like, "Oh, cool."
Great compliment right there.
It seems weird, fate has a way of doing things. Every time I get to the point where I feel like throwing in the towel, Josh, as a content creator you are, I'm sure you understand.
I know right where you're going.
Every content creator goes through this. Is it worth my time? Is it worth my effort? I'm ready to throw in the towel.
Yep, what am I even doing here?
Right. And then someone comes up to you and says, "Man, I really like the videos you make. They inspired me to start my own channel." Or, "You got me into prospecting." There's a lot of guys that say, "I started prospecting because I saw your videos. I had no idea there's gold in Ohio." And I go, "Oh, so I have another wife mad at me."
Right? And you're going, "Shh, don't tell anybody."
No, but it lights a fire under your bottom and makes you want to do more and not give up. Throw in the towel.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, and from a creator perspective, I think it's probably happened for all of us before, where we get in a slump, or we're thinking, you know what, is this really doing anything for people? What am I even doing here? and then you get that just random comment on your video or in the chat, or somebody sends you a message out of the blue or something, and they don't realize, as creators, how much time and effort people put into things sometimes. And when you see those remarks or hear that compliment or whatever, it's like a renewal of the flame, so to speak.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
I know that there are other YouTube creators in the chat too that I'm sure they've been there before too. And you get that message from somebody that something you did with one of your videos or a particular episode or something really helped them out, and you're going, see, now that's it right there. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah. And shoot, now our live show's going on 3 years. June 22nd, if it falls on a Tuesday, will be exactly 3 years we've been doing our live show. I know if you look at this year's playlist, it says season 2, but June 22nd, oh, it's on a Monday, doggone it. But yeah, and I have yet to miss a show.
Nice. That takes a lot of dedication and effort right there.
Yeah, and I try real hard unless I have an Ed Murphy moment, like last night.
Well, sometimes it can't be helped.
Well, you know, I have different stream keys for my auctions compared to my weekly show, right? My weekly show, my stream key is constant. It never changes. My auctions, my, like mail calls and stuff like that, I have a different stream key for every one of those. And I have to enter them into my encoder each time. And I had my last week's auction stream key and not the current stream key, and I go to go live, and here I am talking to myself into my encoder, and then Jesse says, no, Dana says, you're not live, Ed. I'm like, what? And right off I knew what it was. I'm like, oh man.
Right. Oh, I did. It happened again.
What are your plans for 2020? I want to be able to get out on the stream, make more edited content, even push my live show to new heights, Bill. Metal detect with you. Meet a bunch of new people at Gold Rush Days. Like, we talked to Barb about coming up for Gold Rush Days, and we're always inviting people to Gold Rush Days.
Right.
So, yeah, I want to travel more if the channel allows it. And I just want to improve on my product, you know.
Right, that strive for excellence.
Video, I want to improve, and thank God I have. Just look at my very first video. Oh my God,
Right.
It was terrible. But you should, like I told you before, my camera I started with, it was a Kodak. Easy share. I could only do like 10-minute videos at a time, and my first editor was Microsoft Windows Movie Maker, and now I have a better editor, a better computer, better cameras, But now, even when I say I'm going to go to the creek, I'm not going to work at all,
Right.
Jesse will say, okay, if that's the case, why'd you bring your cameras? And even if I don't have my camera, I'll have my phone and I'll do it anyway. And sometimes I feel guilty if I don't. But I one of my plans for 2020 is to get more regular with In the Shed episodes, because that's what I was really known for with my old subscribers, you know, taking stuff I brought home from work and turning it into a functional prospecting gizmo for the prospector on a budget.
Right.
So.
Well, and another one of your plans for 2020 is the upcoming gold show in Columbus, I believe the beginning of May. Flash in Your Pan is going to be running the gold panning booth, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, for the past 4 years or so, Toledo Justano and I have been featured characters in the panning zone at GPA gold shows when they come to Ohio.
Well, you got
It's
one thing right.
fun.
You guys are characters. No, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, Minnie, Mo, and Curly, I tell you, or Minnie, Mo, and Jack, or Mo, Larry, and Curly. You pick. Yeah,
right.
I would say Jesse's Mo though.
Well, one thing's for sure. You guys always do tend to put on a very, very good show over there. A lot of good content.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And hopefully the gold panning booth there at the Columbus Gold Show, you guys will get to meet a lot of new people, introduce some to the hobby, and make a lot of new friends too.
I look forward to it too. That is, if the GPA don't cancel it.
Well, yeah, we'll hope not. I mean, we discussed
Hopefully
that a little.
Things will, yeah.
We discussed that a little on Sunday's show where, you know, out in California, they just flat out canceled their events. I think there's one coming up and maybe you know, I think there's another good sized one coming up in Idaho soon. That so far people are still kind of waiting to hear what they're going to do with that one.
Right.
Hopefully,
yeah,
though,
but Sacramento GPA show, Golden Treasure show was canceled, and Vancouver, Washington was canceled.
Yeah,
so,
and that had to have been unfortunate. I mean, that has to be a lot of lost revenue. It's got to be.
Bill says, I'm finally going to shake Ed's cold way hand at the gold show. That you will, Bill.
And then he's going to make sure to spray himself down with Lysol. No, in all seriousness, no. I would think that by the time the Columbus Gold Show rolls around, we'll be through all of this pandemic
I would like
scare.
to think so.
Yeah, because that,
you know, out of all the countries involved, I believe we have it best handled.
I think
so. You know, despite what mainstream says.
Yeah, I think so,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that when you probably heard the news that the governor declared a state of emergency for Ohio, you probably saw there were a lot of people complaining. But the way I look at it is that I'm glad they're at least doing something. At least they're trying to be proactive. So, hopefully, everything goes well. The Columbus Gold Show goes off without a hitch, because I don't know. You have such a good time with it. I could see you being very disappointed.
Yeah, I'd be really bummed, and plus, I already got my hotel reservations.
Right? Yeah.
There's going to be 2 panning zones this year, so the Flash crew will be rotating between them, and there's a good chance we'll be rotating into the Gold Claw booth also, doing panning demonstrations with one of my favorite gold pans, the Gold Claw. But yeah, it's always a good time. We do Cub Scouts and Boy Scout demonstrations also. That's always a good time, and a little project we have called Take a Vet Prospecting Project. If any of you are in Ohio, are veterans, and would like to dabble in gold prospecting, visit my website. Mind if I plug my website?
Well, you better. They need to know how to find you.
Just head over to flashinyourpan.com, and under the service tab, pick in the menu, Take a Vet Prospecting Project, or if you have Boy Scouts and Wave Belows, or Girl Scouts even, church groups, check out panning demonstrations and drop us an email and I'll get back a hold of you. Emily!
Yes. She's in the chat as well.
Hey, how are you doing, little dirt diggers? My better half likes her. She thinks she's cool. And she's part of the Flash fam too. I always like it when she comes in our live chat.
Right. And what was that website again? That way maybe one of the listeners can drop it in the chat too.
Flashinyourpan.com.
Well, that ought to be simple enough. I'm sure Bill or Bob probably already has it or will have it shortly in there.
Fist bumps to you too, little dirt diggers. It's so good to see you, Emily.
Very nice.
I would love a message from her mom and dad and schedule her on a show some night during the summer when you're not in school.
Right. Can't interfere with school.
I would love to meet her down at the Crescent Mine in her home state of Georgia and pan some gold with her, and even be lucky enough maybe to do a little sweeping and beeping with her and her dad. That would be awesome.
There you go, yeah. That'd be a great time. Well, see, there's another goal added to your 2020 list, maybe.
Maybe 21. We have our calendar's getting pretty quick. I'm shooting for a trip to the Motherlode in September if all goes right, where I'll be collaborating with several other YouTubers and finding some nice California gold.
Maybe you'll get lucky and run across another 4-ounce.
Ooh, wouldn't that be nice?
We can dream.
Good thing we're not on video now. I had to wipe my lip. I was drooling.
Right, yeah. I mean, wouldn't that be a great time? A great find to make for sure.
You know what's weird though? I get a kick when I find a really cool fossil.
The incidental finds.
I get excited when I find arrowheads in my tailings. So far I found an arrowhead on the Aglaze River while I was prospecting, and a stream in southern Indiana. I both times exciting, that's as nice as a nugget to me, or a picker.
Right. Hey, it's all a piece of the past.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Ooh.
just the type of gold you find versus the type of gold I find. Your gold is definitely older.
Well, that's one thing that's neat. The gold I find was placed there, and no one has seen it but me. I'm the first. The gold you find, it's someone's earring, someone's gold ring, a gold coin or something like that, which, hey, gold's gold, you know.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But in that aspect, the gold that we find as detectorists many times represents misfortune, because for us to find it, somebody had to have lost it.
Right, right. And then you wonder, well, who had this? You
Right.
know? Okay, how old is it? Where was it minted? Hey, wonder if Emily find one of those Dahlonega minted gold coins from that beautiful Georgia gold.
There you go.
She finds some awesome stuff for
Yes,
buckles,
she does.
and I like her little signs she's been posting on Facebook out of stuff she finds. That's like Barb with her glass and stuff. So cool.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I know a lot of times Tam likes to take some of the stuff that she's found and upcycle or repurpose. She gets pretty creative with it. Definitely gets pretty creative with it. And I didn't realize, good grief, we've really let time get away from us, rambling on and having a grand time talking. We may have to get you back again sometime, because you have been an absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you. Much like you were when you were on my show a couple of times. Kind of like I said earlier, it's like sitting at your backyard bench BSing, you know.
Right.
I very much enjoyed that time I spent with you. Too bad it was at lunch and not after work.
Right, yeah, maybe got a little bit of swinging and digging in. You did have the knocks in the truck that day.
I believe I did. I did. I showed it to you, I think.
Yeah. Yep. We just...
Yeah.
There again, though, we just didn't have the time.
True. I was on my lunch break, and you were conveniently on the way back from... right on the way back from Burger King to my job site. And
well, I'm glad to see I was finally...
I thought about that property I was working on the other day, because it was in the tornado path that went through Salina, and I do have permission of the homeowners where I worked at to detect their yard.
Oh.
And that's one thing I've brought up tornado maps where it shows where they touch down and their path. And I'm like, wonder what farmer owns that land. And then I go to like the county auditor, or there's a couple of apps now you could get that will show you the property owner's name.
Oh yeah, Gaia, Onyx.
Gaia, yes. Onyx, yep. I believe I have Onyx, a hunting app.
Right.
And it's a very useful tool. And
yes, it is.
But, you know, I just need to pull the trigger and go and ask. And Mike, thank you very much for becoming a subscriber.
Well, nice. See, we know you picked up at least one then.
Fabulous. Welcome to the Flash fam, Mike. Ask Ed about dowsing.
Well,
dowsing. I've dabbled. I've kind of gotten away from it. I want to use technology more. I'm not sure of the spiralistics of dowsing. I've tried to think of it more with physics, but I've dowsed. I use a pendulum. I use dowsing rods. I do find gold, but, I still have to work for a living.
right.
And I was watching a video of Chris Ralph. He's an associate editor at California International Mining Journal, a YouTuber, a professional miner, and gold nugget shooter. And he made some very valid points on a video about dowsing. And if anyone was as good with it as they claim they are, I'm not great. I douse, I dabble. When I first did it, it scared the living bejeebers out of me. I'm like, okay, what kind of demons am I playing with?
Right. And it doesn't work for everybody.
No. You do have to keep an open mind. I carry gold when I hunt for gold, but the pendulum's a lot freakier, kind of spooky than the rods, because I don't really ask the rods as many questions as I ask my pendulum.
Right.
And when the pendulum reacts differently according to what you're asking, it makes a guy kind of go,
Well, see, maybe what we'll do is we'll have to get you back sometime around Halloween, and we'll get a little spooky and creepy and talk dowsing.
Oh, no, I'm not a witch, Bob. Besides, it'd be warlock, not witch.
There's always got to be one in every crowd, right?
If it isn't Bob Drake, it's Bill Marsh. So we got two.
and they will keep you on your toes.
That's okay. I welcome them. They're great guys. I've known Bill Drake through Gold Prospector space for years now.
Right.
Years.
Well, and speaking of years, I've been doing the live broadcasts and stuff longer than what I would like to admit, probably, because that shows my age. But we've both been getting a little long in the tooth doing this stuff. It's high time we got you on over here.
Well, I appreciate it. I had a great time being here,
Well, we will certainly have to have you back again. Definitely. But before we go, make sure and let everybody know again where they can find you. Maybe somebody can even throw up your the link for your website and YouTube channel in the chat for us, too, before we roll out.
Well, I can get that stuff real quick for you. If you want to contact me, please visit me at flashinyourpan.com. There's multiple ways to get a hold of me there and join my newsletter. There's also my YouTube channel. Oops. My YouTube channel is... Oh, I'll just copy and paste it.
Right? Search YouTube for Flash in Your Pan.
If you do, you'll come up with me. Probably would have been a lot shorter link if I would have just typed it out.
But it's still there for posterity.
Yeah. It's usually like .com/user/TDZ61. And that's the Danger Zone, which was my old Action Sporting Goods store. That's the reason why I made a YouTube account anyway, to promote my Action Sporting Goods store, and which was called the Danger Zone. And that's what TDZ stands for, and 61, you could guess on that. Yeah, I'm getting old. So.
Well, you could say the same for many of us. Definitely.
Not Emily, she's still young.
Right, yeah, she does have the illustrious privilege of being the youngest listener in the chat right now, based on age. I'll put it that way. She may not be the youngest listener in the chat based on mentality or maturity level. But we definitely enjoy everybody in the chat. We always do. It's always a great time to see them in the chat, whether it's the Beyond Sight and Sound chat or whether it's the Flash in Your Pan chat.
That's right. It always brings a smile to my face.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why I say Tuesday night's my favorite weeknight.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Well, I can tell you, certainly, from one creator to another, I know the amount of effort and work that you put into it. Good job to you. Kudos to you. And by all means, keep up the good work. And thanks for taking the time to sit down with us tonight. We'll definitely have to have you back again.
It's been a pleasure, my friend, and anytime. You know how to get a hold of me.
That's right, I do. I just don't know where No Tell'em Creek is yet. But you can't tell them it's No Tell'em Creek.
That's right. There's a reason why we say that.
Exactly. So,
but you never know with you. You might end up there someday.
You never know, yeah. Maybe one day, too, I'll see you in the field.
That's right. And there's a reason why I said that, and we already touched on that.
Exactly. Definitely. Well, hang in there with me for a few minutes, Ed, and we'll get on out of here.
Sure thing.
For everyone else, if you enjoyed the show, make sure and throw us a like. If you'd like to hear Ed back, shoot me a message. Let me know. Give me a call. I'm not hard to find. Ed's not hard to find. We have definitely ran on for a while, but we do truly appreciate everyone who has dropped in and enjoyed the show and enjoyed the chat with us. So if you enjoyed it, throw us a like. You can follow us on Spreaker, YouTube, Facebook, and the many wonderful podcast distribution services out there that seem to continually grow at a rate that is more alarming than the coronavirus. Until the next time, we gotta roll, folks. Get out there and try to find something, whether it's with your coil or with your pan, and we'll see you on the next one.